You've invested in the reinforced concrete, 12 months of freeze-dried salvation stacked floor to ceiling, a state-of-the-art CBRN air filtration system humming in the corner like a mechanical god. Your bunker is a marvel, a fortress, a monument to preparedness. And yet, it's a trap. You just don't know it yet. Here's the thing about traps. They don't look like traps when you're building them. They look like solutions. They feel like safety. You spent $40,000 turning your basement into a hardened survival capsule, and you're convinced you've eliminated every vulnerability. Every single point of failure has been addressed, right? Wrong. Dead wrong. Because while you were obsessing over the thickness of your door and the air scrubber's rating, you missed the catastrophic flaws that will turn your fortress into a tomb with better ventilation. And I'm not talking about hardware. I'm talking about the strategic and psychological failures that make all that expensive hardware completely irrelevant. So let me ask you this. When you hear single point of failure, what comes to mind? Your door, your air intake, your water supply? Cute. That's 101 level thinking. That's the obvious answer. That's what 95% of preppers get stuck on. These are hardware problems, technical problems, and technical problems have technical solutions. You can upgrade a door. You can add redundancy to your filtration. You can stockpile more water. But what I'm about to show you, these failures don't have a product on Amazon that fixes them. These are strategic, psychological, tactical, and they will kill you just as efficiently as a compromised air seal, except you won't see them coming until it's too late. Today, we're dissecting the doctrine. We're talking about the 3 critical failures that turn your bunker from a survival asset into a coffin with better ventilation. We're talking about information blackouts, psychological implosion, and the fatal myth of the static fortress. Welcome to the wasteland. Let's talk about why your bunker is already compromised.
Failure number 1, the information black hole, or how to guarantee you're walking into an ambush. Here's your first problem, and it's a big one. Your bunker is an information vacuum of your own design. You have zero external intelligence. You are operating blind and deaf in a world that is rapidly evolving into something you can't even imagine. Your entire survival plan is based on one catastrophically flawed assumption, that the world outside is static, predictable, waiting patiently for you to emerge when you're good and ready. It's not. Let me paint you a picture. It's month 6. Your supplies are holding. Your air is clean. Your team is intact. Everything inside your little underground kingdom is going according to plan. So, you make the call. Time to emerge. Time to reclaim the surface. You crack that reinforced door. You step out into the daylight. And you have absolutely no idea what you're walking into. You are what we call in the trade, bunkered blind. You can't answer the one question that actually matters in a post-collapse scenario. When is it safe? Think about it. You sealed yourself in on day 0. The grid went down. The siren stopped. The emergency broadcast cut to static. And you, being a prepared individual, executed your plan flawlessly. You got your people underground. You locked it down. You started the timer on your food supply. But here's what you didn't do. You didn't maintain situational awareness. You didn't keep a pulse on the evolution of the external environment. You became a static entity in a dynamic threat landscape. So now, 6 months later, you have no idea what's waiting for you up there. Is this a 3-day regional disruption that resolved itself in week 2? Is this a complete societal reset where the rule of law is a nostalgic memory? You don't know. You can't know because you went dark. You don't know if the group you heard walking past your property on day 5 was a disorganized handful of desperate scavengers who moved on, or the advanced scouts of a 50-person disciplined organization that's been systematically mapping every structure in a 5-mile radius for the last 5 months. You don't know if the air is clear. You don't know if the primary threat has passed. You don't know if there's a new authority consolidating power 3 counties over. You don't know if the grocery store down the street is a functional trade hub or a mass grave. You don't know. Your emergence from the bunker will not be a strategic decision based on analyzed intelligence. It will be a gamble, a coin flip. You will be walking out into an environment you haven't observed in 6 months, with no reconnaissance, no advance warning, and no tactical advantage. You will be walking directly into a compromised position. And in a world where information is survival, you just bet your life on ignorance. Congratulations, you survived the initial event. You're about to die in the aftermath. So what's the fix? What's the doctrine that prevents you from becoming a blind target the moment you unseal your fortress? It's simple. Radical, but simple. The bunker as command and control doctrine. Your bunker isn't a hiding place. It's an intelligence hub. It's a command center. It's the one piece of infrastructure you control, and you're going to use it to see, hear, and understand the world outside better than anyone else in your region.
Here's how. First, passive intelligence. You need a wideband radio scanner connected to a discrete, long-range antenna. Not your ham radio, not your walkie-talkies, a scanner. Something that listens to everything. Emergency services, military frequencies, aviation bands, marine channels. And most critically, the new chatter, the improvised networks, the survivor broadcasts. You need to be monitoring all traffic, all the time. You need someone on duty with headphones, logging every transmission. You're building a map, a timeline, a picture of what's happening out there. Are the authorities still operational? Are they coordinating? Are they collapsing? What's the tone? Professional? Desperate? Silent? That's silence. That tells you everything. Are there new voices? Are survivors organizing? Are they cooperative or adversarial? Are they broadcasting locations, trade offers, warnings? Your radio scanner is your periscope, and you're using it 24/7. Second, visual intelligence. You need a network of camouflaged, low-power micro cameras covering the approaches to your property. Not just your front door, your property. Every angle, every access point, every sightline. These aren't high-definition security cameras on a cloud server. Those are useless. I'm talking about small, weatherproof, battery-powered units with SD card storage. Hidden in trees, mounted in fake rocks, disguised as sprinkler heads. You're creating a passive surveillance grid that operates independently of any infrastructure. Why? Because you need to see them before they see your house. You need to observe patterns, count individuals, identify repeat visitors, track movement, build a behavioral profile of your local area. Is that same vehicle rolling past your street every 3 days? Are there patrols? Are people avoiding your area, or are they probing it? You need this data, and you need it without exposing yourself. Third, the recon drone. Your one-time, high-value tactical intelligence asset. A small quadcopter drone, consumer-grade, stored in a signal-proof box until you absolutely need it. This is your periscope moment. When you're seriously considering emergence, you deploy this asset once. You get a 3-mile, 10-minute aerial view of your immediate environment before you make the irreversible decision to exit. You're looking for population density, smoke columns, roadblocks, encampments, vehicle movement, damage patterns. You're getting a God's eye snapshot of the new world. And then you're deciding. Not guessing, deciding. Because here's the brutal reality. You can have the best bunker in the county, the best food, the best water, the best air, but if you emerge into a hostile environment with zero intel, you're not a survivor. You're just well-fed prey. Information is the asymmetric advantage, and if you're not leveraging it, you've already failed. So that's failure number 1, the information black hole. You've solved for hardware, you forgot to solve for situational awareness. And in a dynamic threat environment, blindness is a death sentence. But you know what's worse than being blind? Being trapped underground with people who are losing their minds. Which brings us to your second catastrophic failure.
Failure number 2, the psychological time bomb, or why your team will implode before your supplies run out. Let's talk about the single point of failure you can't reinforce with rebar, the human mind. You've stress tested your steel. You've pressure tested your seals. You've calculated load-bearing tolerances and redundancy factors for every piece of hardware in your bunker, but you haven't stress tested your team. You've taken 4 to 5 high-strung, capable, strong-willed personalities, locked them in a 500 square foot underground box, severed all external contact, eliminated all normal routines, and said, cope. And you're shocked when they don't. Here's what you're not accounting for. Here's the variable that will collapse your entire operation long before your food runs out: containment fatigue. This isn't a vacation. This isn't a camping trip. This isn't even a bad week at work. This is 24/7 confinement under extreme psychological pressure with no end date, no escape, no privacy, no relief. You are living in a submarine without the ocean, a space station without the mission, a prison without the release date. And human beings were not designed for this. Let me tell you what happens. Week 1, adrenaline. Everyone's on mission. Everyone's focused. The reality of this situation keeps people sharp and cooperative. This is the honeymoon phase. Week 2, adjustment. The adrenaline fades. The routine sets in. People start adapting. It's uncomfortable, but manageable. Week 4, the cracks start showing. Someone snores, loudly, every night. At first, it's annoying. By week 4, it's a source of genuine irrational rage for the person trying to sleep 6 feet away. Someone chews with their mouth open. Someone hums when they're thinking. Someone takes 3 extra minutes in the bathroom. Someone's foot tapping becomes the only sound anyone can hear during quiet hours. These aren't personality conflicts. These are psychological pressure points. And in close confinement, they don't fade, they amplify. By week 8, paranoia sets in. Is he using more than his share of the water? Why is she on the radio all the time? What is she hearing that she's not telling us? Did he just take 2 protein bars? That's my ration for tomorrow. Why does he get to sleep near the air vent? Why is his bunk bigger than mine? You think I'm exaggerating? I'm not. This is documented psychology. This is what happens in every long-duration isolation study ever conducted. Submarines, Antarctic research stations, space missions, bunkers. Small irritations become major conflicts. Trust erodes. Social cohesion disintegrates. And here's the nightmare scenario you're not prepared for: social disintegration. The real challenge isn't the external pressure. It's not the group trying to get in. It's the member inside who cracks, the one who jeopardizes the group's safety by making an irrational decision. The one who decides in month 3 that the external threat has clearly passed and it's safe to leave despite all evidence to the contrary. The one who tries to override the group decision and force an early emergence.
The one who becomes convinced that supplies are being hoarded, that they're being cheated, that there's a conspiracy against them, and decides to take control of the food stores, by force if necessary. The one who can't handle the confinement anymore and starts sabotaging systems just to create a reason to leave, just to end the psychological torture of being underground. Your group's cohesion will collapse, not from external attack, from internal implosion. And when it does, your bunker becomes a battle zone. And the casualty rate inside a contained environment with no escape? 100%. So what's the doctrine? How do you prevent your team from tearing itself apart before the world outside stabilizes? You engineer your social structure as meticulously as you engineered your air filtration. You implement what I call the social governance protocol. Here's how it works. First, the schedule is law. You need a rigid, non-negotiable, 24-hour schedule that everyone follows. 8 hours on duty, 8 hours personal time, 8 hours rest. No exceptions, no flexibility. Why? Because in an environment with no external structure, the schedule becomes the structure. It provides predictability, routine, a sense that there is still order in the world. Duty hours are dedicated to critical tasks: maintenance, intel gathering, inventory management, equipment checks, physical training. This gives people a sense of purpose, a mission, a reason to get up. Personal time is sacred. This is when people can read, write, think, be alone as much as possible in a confined space. This is psychological decompression time. Rest hours are enforced. Lights out, quiet protocols. Sleep hygiene is not optional. Fatigue degrades decision-making, and bad decisions underground are catastrophic. The schedule creates a framework, and humans need frameworks to maintain sanity. Second, roles are identity. Everyone has a non-negotiable, critical job, not a generic we all pitch in situation. Specific roles with specific titles. Comms officer,
responsible for all radio monitoring and intelligence logging. Engineer, responsible for all mechanical systems, maintenance, and troubleshooting. Medical lead, responsible for health monitoring, first aid, and psychological check-ins. Quartermaster, responsible for inventory, rationing, and meal preparation. Each role provides status, value, identity. It prevents the psychological spiral of feeling useless, of being a burden, of not contributing. People need to feel essential. If they don't, they become resentful. And resentment in close quarters is a death sentence. Third, and this is the most critical element, the social stress test. You must practice this before the event. Not a drill, a real, full-duration simulation of a mandatory 72-hour simulated lock-in for everyone who will be in the bunker. No phones, no internet, no external contact. You seal the bunker, you run the schedule, you enforce the protocols, you see what breaks. Because here's the truth. You'll find out who can't handle the confined environment before it's a real-world necessity. You'll identify the psychological weak points, the interpersonal conflicts, the people who simply cannot function in that environment. And then you make the hard call. You adjust your team. You refine your protocols. You address the issues when the stakes are low. Because if you wait until it's real, until you're locked in with no choice, you won't get a second chance to fix a personality clash or a psychological breakdown. The human element is your single point of failure. And if you don't engineer for it, you're building a pressure cooker with no release valve. Your supplies will outlast your sanity. Your bunker will outlast your team. And you'll die underground surrounded by food, water, and air because you forgot that survival is a social game. That's failure number 2, the psychological implosion. You plan for everything except the fact that humans break faster than hardware. But let's say you solve it. Let's say your team is psychologically sound, your information network is operational, and your bunker is functioning exactly as designed. There's still one catastrophic flaw that will get you killed, and it's the bunker itself.
Failure number 3, the fortress fallacy, or how your bunker became a cage. Here's the uncomfortable truth that no prepper wants to hear. The moment you bug in to a fixed fortified position, you have surrendered your single greatest survival advantage, mobility. You have become a static, high-value target. And in a dynamic adversarial environment, static targets don't survive. They get surrounded, contained, neutralized. Let me explain the problem. Your bunker is a known quantity. It's a fixed point on a map. It's a structure, and structures are easy to locate, easy to monitor, easy to siege. You think your security comes from your reinforced door, your hidden entrance, your hardened construction. But here's what you're missing. An adversary doesn't need to breach your $5,000 door to win. They just need to know you're in there. And once they know, they have every advantage. They know you cannot run. They know you are contained. They know you have limited supplies and a finite timeline. They know that eventually you have to come out, or you die in there. So what do? They wait. They don't need to assault your position. They don't need to risk casualties trying to breach your defenses. They can conduct a protracted siege. They can test your vulnerabilities. They can probe your exit points. They can set traps for when you eventually emerge. They have all the options. You have one. Stay inside. And that's not a survival strategy. That's a delaying tactic. You're not winning. You're just postponing the inevitable confrontation under increasingly desperate conditions. But it gets worse because the bunker itself isn't just a tactical liability. It's a structural one. And this is the scenario that should terrify you more than any external threat. The house as a liability tactic. Your bunker is under your house, right? In your basement. That's the most common configuration. It makes sense. It's cost-effective, it's discreet, it uses existing infrastructure. But your house is now the primary vulnerability. Not your bunker, your house. A simple structural fire, whether accidental, natural, or otherwise, something that would be a manageable problem for a normal home becomes a catastrophic event for your bunker. The house above you becomes compromised. The structure collapses. Debris blocks your primary exit. Your secondary exit? If it's also routed through the house, it's also blocked. You are now trapped by debris. Your fortress has become a container, a sealed box with no way out. And you didn't even need an adversary to make this happen. basic physics did it for you. So what's the doctrine? How do you prevent your bunker from becoming a static death trap? You change your philosophy completely. You adopt what I called the bunker as a cache doctrine. Your bunker is not your final destination. It is not your home. It is not where you plan to ride out the apocalypse until things return to normal. Because things aren't returning to normal. And if you're betting on waiting it out, you're betting on a fantasy. Your bunker is a waypoint, a hardened rally point, a tactical asset designed to let you survive the initial wave of chaos, the first 1 to 4 weeks, the period when everyone who didn't prepare is dying, when violence is random and unorganized, when the threat environment is maximum chaos and minimum predictability. That's what the bunker is for, to give you a safe, intel-enabled space to wait out the worst of it. But after that, you need to move. You need to adapt. You need to leverage the intelligence you've been gathering with your command and control setup and make strategic decisions about your next move. This is the hybrid strategy. The bunker's real purpose is to give you a safe, intel-enabled space to analyze the new world and plan your next phase, not to be your permanent residence. And this leads to the ultimate solution, the distributed asset model. Stop thinking about one super bunker, one fortress, one single point of failure that holds all your resources. Think 3 to 4 smaller, well-hidden supply caches, geographically distributed, independently secured, each with enough food, water, weapons, and equipment to support your group for 2 to 4 weeks. If one cache is discovered, compromised, raided, you haven't lost everything, you haven't lost your entire investment. You have fallback options, redundancy, strategic depth. This is how you survive in a dynamic environment, not by building one impregnable fortress, but by building a network of assets that provides you with options, mobility, flexibility, adaptability. And here's the non-negotiable element that ties this all together, the independent egress. You must have a secondary, concealed, and structurally independent emergency exit. Not a second door in the same room, not an alternate route through the same structure. A separate tunnel, a separate shaft, a separate access point that is physically isolated from your house and your primary entrance. This invalidates the house as a liability scenario. If your house collapses, burns, or becomes structurally compromised, you still have a way out, an emergency exit that doesn't rely on any above-ground structure. This is expensive, this is complex, this is the pain to construct. I don't care, it's non-negotiable. Because a bunker with one exit isn't a bunker, it's a tomb with better air circulation. That's failure number 3, the static target fallacy. You thought the bunker was the solution. It's not, it's a tool, and if you use it wrong, it becomes your coffin.
The real single point of failure. So, we've covered 3 strategic failures, 3 doctrines, 3 flaws that will kill you more efficiently than any hardware problem ever could. The information black hole, the psychological implosion, the static target fallacy. But you wanted to know the real single point of failure that 95% of preppers ignore, the one that underlies all 3 of these strategic catastrophes. Here it is, the fallacy of the fortress. It's the belief that hardware can save you, that if you just buy the right door, the right filter, the right supplies, you can engineer your way to survival. It's the belief that you can sit in one spot, blind and isolated, cut off from information and mobility, and somehow win a dynamic, chaotic, constantly evolving game of survival. It's the belief that the bunker is the solution, when the bunker is just a tool. And tools only work if you understand how to use them, if you understand their limitations, if you understand the context in which they provide value. Your bunker isn't your savior. It's a tactical asset with a specific purpose and a limited operational window. It's a hardened position that gives you time and protection during the initial collapse. It's a command center that lets you gather intelligence and maintain situational awareness. It's a waypoint that gives you a starting position for your next move. But it is not a permanent solution. It is not a fortress that makes you invincible. It is not a magic box that turns you into a survivor just because you're inside it. The real single point of failure is your strategy, your understanding of the environment, your ability to adapt, your psychological resilience, your social cohesion, your information network, your mobility. If you don't have those things, your bunker is a trap, a very expensive, very well-ventilated trap. And the wasteland is littered with the corpses of people who thought hardware was enough. So here's your choice.
You can keep obsessing over your door thickness and your air filtration CFM ratings. You can keep buying more supplies and reinforcing more walls. You can keep building the perfect fortress. Or you can accept that survival is strategic, psychological, social, tactical, and you can start engineering for the real threats. The threats you can't see, the threats inside your team, the threat of being a static target in a dynamic world. You can build a command and control hub. You can stress test your social governance. You can create distributed assets and independent egress routes. You can turn your bunker from a fortress to a launch pad. Or you can stay blind, isolated, and static, and become part of the landscape. The choice is yours. Just don't take too long to make it.